The question says that Bob Limited manufactures two products, namely A and B. The following budget has been prepared for the year ending 30th of June 2014. So we have product A and B. We have sales in units, sales revenue, variable costs, contribution, and fixed costs. Additional information is that the selling price per unit of product A and B is shillings 5 and 10 respectively. The variable cost per unit of product A and B is shillings 4 and 3 respectively. Now, required is to draw a multiple product CVP chart and estimate the break-even point in shillings. So, as you remember, the other day we came across a question that had required us to draw a chart, and I told you a break-even chart is no longer part of the syllabus. So, the same case applies. We will not get to the details of how to do that. My interest is to do the computations when we have multiple products. So number 2, we are told to compute the break-even point in total in units and shillings for each of the products. And then Bob Limited proposes to change the sales mix of the products in units to 1:1 for product A and B. Advise the company on whether the proposed change is desirable. So this question is from CVP analysis. It is CVP and environment of sustainability, and a case of multi-products. Is a case of multiple products. Is a case of multiple products. Now, in this case, there are two very important formulas that you need to know. One is how to get weighted average contribution margin. Or maybe we can separate, let me delete that. We just go straight to what the question is asking. Let's talk of the current mix. Current sales mix. Now, in the current sales mix, you can see product A is we have details, can have details. Per unit, details per unit. We have product A and then product B. Product A and product B. So the first thing is selling price. Selling price. Selling price. So selling price, you will say it is 600, you divide by those units, which are 120. So 600 divided by 120 is how much? How much is it? Okay, Jack says it is 5. Okay, then, yeah, for this other one, it is 400. You divide by 40, this must be 10. The next one is variable costs. Variable costs. So variable cost is 480. You divide by 120, that should be 4. That should be 4. Then 120, you divide by 40, that is 3. And then contribution margin. Contribution margin. Contribution margin is 5 minus 4. That is 1. Here is 10 minus 3. That is 7. That is the contribution margin. That is the contribution margin. The next thing is to get weighted average contribution margin. Weighted average contribution margin will be given as the weight of A, contribution margin of A, plus the weight of B, contribution margin of B. The weight is given in terms of units. So the units of A, as you can see up there, they are 120 in a total of 160. So times 1 plus 40, you divide by 160 times 7. So work out that and give me the answer. Work out that and tell me what is the answer. Okay, I can see Jack, I can see June, I can see Varim talking of 2.5. It is shillings 2.5. So if it is shillings 2.5, if it is shillings 2.5, if you want to get the profit, profit is given as weighted average contribution margin, X minus F. X minus F. So this will be 2.5. You multiply by 160,000 units. You minus the fixed cost, which is 300,000. The fixed cost, which is 300,000. Which is 300,000. Work that out. Oh, good, June. Jack, 100,000. We have shillings 100,000. If you are told to get the break-even point, XBE, it is F you divide by WACM. WACM. Now this one will be 300,000. You divide by 2.5. You divide by 2.5. $120,000 divided in June, it's 120,000 units. 120,000 units. So if you are told to get the margin of safety we know it is X minus XBE. So this will be 160,000 minus 120,000, and that gives you 40,000 units. 40,000 units. Yeah, something else that I want you to know how to remember is WACMR. If we are told to compute weighted average contribution margin ratio, it is given as weight A, contribution margin ratio of A, plus weight of B, contribution margin ratio of B. Contribution margin ratio of B. Contribution margin ratio of B. So this one becomes the weight. We use the revenue now. So the weight here will be the revenue. So you can see the revenue is 600 out of a total of 1,000 times contribution margin ratio for A will be the contribution 1 divided by the selling price of 5. Divide by the selling price of 5 plus huyu mwingine will be 400 in a total of 1,000 times contribution margin of 7. You divide by the selling price of 10. So tell me what will be the ratio? The weighted average contribution margin ratio. Yes, I can see June, Jack, 0.4. So this is 0.4. So if you are told to get the profit, it will be WACMR multiplied by revenue minus the fixed costs. So this will be 0.4 times the revenue. The whole revenue is 1 million. You minus the fixed cost of 300,000. And this one again goes back to 100,000. This one that we had. It goes back to that. Okay, so that is okay. Then if you are told to get the break-even point in change, RBE, it is F, you divide by WACMR, WACMR, so this will be 300,000, you divide by 0.4. 300,000, you divide by 0.4. That becomes what? 750,000 shillings, 750,000. So if they ask you of the margin of safety, it is R minus RBE. So this will be 1 million minus 750,000, and that will be shillings 250,000. That is the margin of safety. The margin of safety in shillings. So the next thing that we are told to do is for the new the proposed sales mix. Proposed sales mix. You are told to advise on the proposed sales mix. So this one, it is very simple because you just make the decision based on profits. So the first thing is to get the weighted average contribution margin. The weighted average contribution margin. And we are told in the proposed mix, it will be a case of 1-1. So the weight of A will be 1 out of 2 times the contribution margin of 1 plus 1.5 times the contribution margin of 7. Contribution margin of 7. Aha, hiyo nayo inakuja ngapi? Oh, John says 4. It's 4, good. I can see even Ivarin also. So with that now, the profit will be 4 times the total units remain. The total units remain. So we go for 160,000 units minus 300,000 minus 300,000. Yeah, June says 340,000. 340,000. Yeah, Ivarin. And the others, you are not active. I think I'm only dealing more with June, Ivarin, and Jack. Wengine kina Churchill, Helen, Royce, McKenna, Boniface. We need to hear from you. Okay. So what advice do you tell them? Or what advice do you give? What advice do you give? Should they change the proposed mix? Or is the proposed mix desirable? What do you think? Is the proposed mix desirable? Okay, yes, Ivarin, June. So the proposed mix is desirable since it results to a higher profit. It results to a higher profit. You can see before we changed, the profit we were making was 100. But after you change, the profit becomes, yes, Churchill, it is a higher profit. So I am through with that question. That is all that I wanted to illustrate, to remind you how to deal with multiple products. How to deal with multiple products. And if you are okay, you can let us proceed to the next question. The next question. Is that all? Okay, June says yes. The others, are you okay? We proceed. Okay, Varin. Okay. Now the next question is a question of May 2012, question 4A. May 2012, question 4A, which we are told, Innovate Limited manufactures and sells a wide range of products. The company is in the process of introducing a new product in the market branded Zido. Currently, the selling price for new products has been calculated on a cost-plus basis, and a marketing penetration approach to pricing has been applied. The management has decided that a target costing approach should be applied to development and marketing of Zido. The following information relates to the operations of Innovate Limited and the production of Zido. So we are given all that. And then we are told to get the total cost per unit. So this question is on target costing. The question is on target costing, pricing method. Pricing method. So I want us to read as we solve. We are going to have a table that will have 4 columns, and the columns will be of different sizes. The columns will be of different sizes. So the first one here is called details. Is called details. The next column is the year 2013. The year 2013. This one will also not be as big. The one that will take more space is the other 2. So I want us to divide them as we work out. As we work out. So information number 1 says the estimate production volumes for a 3-year product market life cycle is as follows. So we are given those units. Those ones do not affect us for now. Number 2, we are told in the year 2013, production is estimated to be that 2 units per labor hour. As employees become more familiar with the production process, it is expected that productivity will increase by 3%, in year 2014 and a further 2% in year 2015. Just a minute. Okay, sorry, I'm back. The first thing on now, that is also not affecting us independently. We go to number 3 that says labor is currently charged to products at the rate of $2.40 per hour. A 3-year remuneration package has been negotiated with the workforce. This provides for a 5% increase in year 2014 and a further 4% increase in year 2015. So we need to get to know labor costs. Labor costs. So labor costs, I think I should not have drawn my line here. This space inaonekana inahitajika kubwa. Ni si kubwa sana. So one hour we are paying 240. So we need to know 1 unit requires how many hours. So that will be 1 out of that 2. Because in 1 hour we are making that 2 units. So 1 unit is taking 1 out of that 2 hours. So you multiply this by 240. You multiply that by 240. So multiply that and give me the answer maybe to 3 decimals or 2 decimals, whichever comes first. Okay, so June says 7.5. 7.50. So that is the space that my first year will take. I hope the others will have enough space. Year 2014. For the year 2014, in terms of hours, it will be 1 out of that 2 times. We are told productivity will increase. According to information 2, productivity will increase by 3%. So you multiply by 1.03. Then you say times 240. 240 multiplied by, this one is going to increase by, the labor rate is increasing by 5%. So multiplied by 1.05. 1.05. So I need sasa hii itabidi kuja hapa chini. My space will not be enough. Yeah, 7.6456. 7.6456. That's according to June. 6456. The others, we need to confirm these values. 7.6456. Yes, Ivarin, good. And let us go to the next year. When we come to the next year, it is 1 out of that 2 times 1.03 times in the next year. In the next year, we are increasing by 2%. So multiply by 1.02. Then you multiply by 240, multiplied by 1.05, multiplied by, the next year they're increasing by 4%. 1.04. It's congesting. So give me that. June says 7.7955. 7.7955. Yes, Ivarin, good, confirmed. So that is about labor costs. Let us go to the next one. In regarding number 4 now, material costs are estimated to be 9 per unit of output in year 2013. As a result of long-term supply contracts with suppliers, this will be reduced by 2% at the beginning of year 2014, but there will be no further changes. So let's now bring the material costs. Let us bring material costs. So material costs, we are told it is 9 bob in the first year. It is 9 bob. But going to the second year, it will reduce. So it will be 9 times 1 minus 0.02. It will reduce by 2%. It will reduce by 2%. Yes, June says 8.82. 8.82. Yes, Jack, good, 8.82. And we are told in that year there will be no further change, so it is 8.82. Next is that variable overheads are charged to products on a labor hour basis at a rate of $3.20 per hour in the year 2013. Variable overheads are expected to rise by 5% in the year 2014 and a further 4% in the year 2015. So we go to variable overheads. Variable overheads. Now variable overheads, because they are based on per hour, they are based on per hour, it will also be a case of 1 out of that 2 times 320. So I think this is clear, it is 10. Then going to the second year, it will also be a case of 1 out of that 2 times 1.03 times 320 times, we are told this one will increase by 5%. So times 1.05 times 1.05. Aha, 10.1942. 10.1942. Good. Let's go to the next one and do the same thing. we do the same thing whereby it will be 1 out of that 2 times 1.03 times 1.02. Then you multiply by 320 times 1.05. 0.05. And then we are told it is increasing also by 4%. 1.04. $10.3941. 10.3941. Okay. The next one is fixed overheads allocated to the product are estimated at that amount in the year 2013 and are expected to increase by 4% in each of the following 2 years. So what you do, utachukua hiyo, so kwanza tukuje hapa tuseme fixed overheads. Fixed overheads. Utachukua the amount which is given as 8680. 8680. You divide by the number of units which are up there, 1600. So that will tell you the cost per unit. The cost per unit. $5.425. 5.425. Then when you come to the next year, what you shall do, utachukua hii 8680 multiply by the increase. We are told it is increasing by 4%. You multiply by that, then you divide by the number of units, which in the second year we are told they are 1800. They are 1800. $5.01. 5.0151. Ukikuja to the next year, you done the same rhythm. 8680 times 1.04 times 1.04. You divide by 1520. You divide by 1520. Divide by 1520. $6.1765. 6.1765. Good. So with that now, we are able to come down here and get what we call total costs. Total actual costs. Total actual costs. Hapa utasema ni 7.5 plus 9 plus 10 plus 5.425. I'm getting that 1.925. I have 7.6456 plus 8.82 plus 10.1942 plus 5.0151 is that 1.6749. Yule mwingine ni 7.7955 plus 8.82 plus 10.3941 plus 6.1765 is that 3.1861. So those are the figures I have. I hope we have agreed. If you are using the figures exactly that way. Our research has indicated that at a selling price of 38 per unit for years 2013 and 2014, and that 5 in the year 2015, we read to the anticipated sales volumes. And then we are told a target profit margin of 20% has been set. So I told you from there, you need to compute something called maybe what nifungie. You need to compute something called target cost. Target cost. So target cost is given as the selling price minus the profit. So for the first year, the selling price is 38 and the profit is 20%. So give me the figure. Okay, June says my workings are correct. Good. So what is the target cost for the first year? 30.4. And even in the second year, it is 38 minus 0.2 times 38. So it is still 30.4. Last year, it is 35 minus 0.2 of 35. The last year, that is 28. Good. That is 28. Then there is what we call the cost gap. And cost gap, I told you, is the actual cost minus target cost. Actual cost minus target cost. So the kianzia huko minus 28. This is 5.1861. That 1.6749 minus 30.4 is 1.2749. And that 1.925 minus 30.4 is 1.525. So that is the, yes, Churchill, good. Then finally, we are told to get the total savings. The total savings that will be made. So tateremuka hapa useme we have the year and the savings. Now it is becoming a saving because what you can see here, we are incurring that one, where we are supposed to incur that. And that is the case for each of the years. The actuals are more than the target. So if we respond appropriately and move from the actual higher to the target which is lower, it will be a saving. And the opposite is true. So then what you shall do, you shall come here and tell us the year and then the savings. So the year 2013, you will argue 1.525, you multiply by 1,600,000 units. That will be your savings. The year 2014, it is 1.2749 times 1,800,000. And the year 2015, remember this was the year 2015. I forgot to write the year 2015. So in the year 2015, it is 5.1861. You multiply by 1,520,000. So do that and give me the total. Do that and give me the total savings. That is how okay, good. June, I can see the figures. And the grand total is 12,617,692. 12,617,692. Yeah, good. Yeah, that is from June, Churchill, and Ibarin. So we are through with the questions that I had selected, which made us to divert from our normal pattern. And now that we are through, I wish we go back to our pattern. We go back to the pattern. Yeah, those are questions that in the normal pattern we had not covered. And I thought because the exam was to come, we also needed to refresh our knowledge on those areas. And that's why I selected them. So we go back now to our normal pattern. Now, can you remember where we stopped? And if you can, remind me. Okay, Royce, I've seen that. It is well, shall be well. Ivarine and June, May 2018, question 1B. I'm thinking we had finished question 1. So we had drawn the tree. We had drawn the tree and did the workings. Therefore, we should begin with question 2. June, we did not do the computations for the expected monetary values. Okay, Ibarine says we did. Okay. June, I know where maybe the issue could be. I know where the issue could be. We are sorting it out in a while. So let's go to question 2. So this is the paper of May 2018. The paper of May 2018. So in the paper of May 2018, question 2A, it is on what we call terms. It's on what we call terms. Okay, good, June. You are told to explain the following costs as used in decision making. One is avoidable costs. Or what did we agree about the theory? Do I discuss it or I just focus on computations? I think let me hear your views. Let me hear your views. Okay, maybe to have a balance very quickly, without taking much time, to have a balance, avoidable costs are costs which are not are not a must to incur. A must to incur. So it's not a must to incur. Let me put it that way. You can avoid it. Number two, sunk costs are costs already incurred. Already incurred. Those are costs which are already incurred, you cannot change them. And then differential costs are the ones which are unique in different options. Different options. So if that is good enough, you can add more when you read on your own. Yeah, when you read on your own, I can see most people are saying we just do computation. Yeah, but just to ensure there is a balance for those, you can support them that. Okay. Let us go to part B. Let us go to part B. The following data relates to the weekly amount spent on entertainment by households and the annual income of the head of the household and the household size in terms of the number of persons. We have all that. A computer output of the above data using a spreadsheet package was provided as follows. So we have all that data. Now we are told to get the equation of regression line of the data. The equation. So that question is coming from regression analysis. Regression analysis and specifically reliability tests. Reliability tests, or what you would call ANOVA. It is also more related to ANOVA, the analysis of variances. That's where it's coming from. So if it is coming from there, number one, we are told to do the regression equation. The regression equation so the regression equation and we are told to round our answers to 2 decimals. We are told to round our answers to 2 decimals. So it will be y. Now look at the table, the last table that is written, coefficients. We will have minus 4.1 when you use 2 decimals, plus 0.99 x1 plus 1.76 x2. x2 where y represent the weekly amount. Weekly amount spent on entertainment. Weekly amount. Sorry, this is 2B. This is question 2B. Then X1 is going to represent the annual income. Annual income. And X2 is going to represent household size. Household size. So that is the answer to the first question. That is how you are supposed to state it. The next thing we are taught to do a statistical analysis. Now, the examiner there is not clear on what analysis you want. But we know that there are many types, which we say they are divided into three. So, you can do a few, uachane nayo, ama ufanye zote. So for our case, or for my case now, I'm going to do all that can be done. The statistical analysis. Statistical analysis. Now, in the statistical analysis, I have the first category. The first category, I want to call it A, which we know is called economic plausibility test. Economic plausibility test. So in the economic plausibility test, I will have independent variable, expected relationship, with the dependent variable, Then I will have observed relationship, and then I will have the comments. So I want to present it like in a tabular way. So last time we discussed about 3 types of relationships. So the first one that we are dealing with is annual income. Annual income, which is represented by X1. Annual income presented by X1. Then I will have here household size. household size represented by X2. Represented by X2. I told you we have three types of relationships. We have direct relationship, we have the inverse relationship, and we have the null relationship. So I want you to tell me, what kind of a relationship would you expect to see between annual income and our dependent variable? Remember, our dependent variable is the amount spent. So what kind of a relationship? Why I have said this is weekly amount spent on entertainment. That is what we are looking at. McKenna? Or how we got y equals 2. How we got y equals 2, McKenna, tulisoma kwa hii table. Hii table iko hapa hii. Hii inaitwa the table of coefficients. This is a kwanza. The column that is titled coefficients. That's where we got those values. And we rounded them to 2 decimals. That's what the examiner had said. That's okay, McKenna? Good. Now I can see Churchill and June saying the relationship is direct, which is very true. As you get more money, you spend more. So this is a direct relationship. Then you come and check, what have we observed? We have observed a direct. You can see this is positive. So we have observed a direct relationship. And I told you you can support this by saying it's 0.99 so that no one will doubt. And now that they are in agreement, it means they are economically plausible. They are in agreement. They are making sense. They are making sense. Then, what would you expect to see between household size and amount spent? Is it direct or inverse or no relationship? What would you expect to see? Direct also, yes. It is also going to be direct. The more you are in a family, the higher the chances you spend more. Then what have we seen? We have also seen a direct relationship that is positive 1.76. And therefore, this is plausible. That is plausible. That is plausible. So that is about the economic plausibility tests. Let us go to the second category, which is called goodness of faith tests. That is B now. Goodness of faith tests. Goodness of faith tests. So in the goodness of faith tests, I told you there are 6 tests. Number 1 is R square. So you can see we are given R square. So 1 is R square. R square, we can see it is 0.45. 0.45, which is 45%. R square. And the meaning of that is that 45% of expenditure, let me just simplify and call it that way, 45% of expenditure is explained by income and household size. Household size. So in that case, 45% is explained. And remember we said if it is below 60%, it should be rejected. So that shows a very weak relationship. It shows a very weak relationship. And the second thing, number 2, that you should talk about, is the standard error of estimate. The standard error of estimate. Now, the standard error of estimate is not provided. Hakuna mahali tumepewa the predicted values and the errors. So this one not provided is not provided in the report. So you cannot comment about it. So I told you in the exam, if it is not there, you just leave it. You don't talk about it. But for me, I have to remind you so that you go and read. Number 3 is what we call the F tests. Now, F again is not provided. Oh, it is provided. Good. It is provided. So for the F tests, for the F tests, the calculated, iko hapa kwa hii table, mahali unaona kumeandikwa F. That is 6.89. 6.89. I hope you're able to see that. 6.89. And then critical. Critical is 0.01. Remember, we were advised to use 2 decimals. Critical ndio imeandikwa significance F. The one written as significance F. So the comment is that the relationship is significant. Relationship is significant. Since F calculated is greater than F critical, that is 6.89 is greater than 0.01. So the relationship is significant. The relationship is significant since F calculated is greater than F critical. That is 6.89 is greater than 0.01. That is regarding F tests. That is regarding F tests. That is regarding F tests. Number 4 we know is R. the multiple R, the correlation coefficient. You can see multiple R, we are given 0.67. 0.67. So this shows a strong direct relationship. A strong direct relationship. It's not very strong because it's not very close to 1, but 0.67 is not weak. It's a strong relationship. It's a strong relationship. The next one is number 5, which we call SB. SB. Now SB for X1, it is equal to SB for X1. If you go to the katikati, you can see income equal to 0.31. 0.31. And then X2 equal to 1.72. 1.72. 1.72. So what can you say about that? You'll say X1 is better than X2. X1 is better than X2, and the reason is it has a lower error. It has a lower error. Since it is lower, or it has a lower error. Remember, I told you the smaller the error, the better the variable. Which is very true, that income is a better determinant of how much money you spend, while household is not really a determinant. You may find someone has 5 children. Someone has 5 children, all in the primary school, and they are paying school fees of 10,000. 10,000 for the 5 children. They're in a public school. But one person or another person has 1 kid who is in an academy, and they are paying 45,000. So 1 child, 45,000. 5 children, 10,000. So the size of the family is not really a show of the amount that you spend. But income is a strong indicator. Not a must, because you could also be very rich, but very stingy. You don't spend on your family. There are people who are like that. But to a greater extent, we know that the amount of money you have determines the expenditure. The last one, number 6, is t-tests. Now for the t-tests, we will have to share. So for the t-tests, taipanga namna hii. For the t-tests, I will need independent variable here, a column for independent variable. I will need t calculated. I will need plus or minus t critical. And I'll need to make a comment or the conclusion whether it is significant or not significant. Whether it is significant or not significant. So this is how the t-test is summarized. T-tests, we'll summarize it that way. So for the independent variables, we have the income, the annual income, and then we have the household size. We have the household size. So sasa, the T calculated is what in this table, naona kumeandikwa T start. Those are the T calculated. So for the income, it is 3.14. And for huyu mwingine, it is 1.03. 1.03. I hope everyone is able to read those values. 1.03. Higher. For the critical needs wameandika P value. So for the annual income, it is plus or minus 0.01. 0.01. Then this one plus or minus 0.32. 0.32. And I told you, let me remind you kidogo hapa. Let me remind you. Hapa is where we have the minus t. And this is plus t, critical. So kama uko hapa ndani, tunasema insignificant. Kama uko huku nje, tunasema significant. Na kama uko on the lower side, bado tunasema significant. That is how the rule is drawn. So I want you now to apply that and tell me whether the annual income, this and this, is significant or insignificant. Is it significant or insignificant? For the annual income, is it significant or insignificant? Yeah, one person has responded, Churchill. I need 2 or 3 people to respond. Yeah, June also has responded. Someone else. The others, no idea. This is significant. It is significant because you can see these 3 that is on the upper side. And the same case with the household. It is also significant. Even the household is also significant. is also significant. Those are the 6 goodness of faith tests. Goodness of faith tests. The next category, C, is about the assumptions. Is about the assumptions. It's about the assumptions. So I told you there are 6 assumptions. One is called linearity. The first one is called linearity. Linearity. So linearity, we will say the relationship is linear. This relationship is linear. Why? Because the equation obtained, this one, has taken the shape of a general linear function. The relationship is linear since the equation obtained y is equals to minus 4.1 plus 0.9x1 plus 1.76x2 takes the general form of a linear function. So I hope that is clear. Number 2 is called zero mean. Number 3 is called constant variance. Number 4 is called normality. Number 5 is called autocorrelation. Number 6 is called multicollinearity. Now all these, they are not applicable in this table. You cannot comment about them. None of their data has been provided. So as I said, later on your own, go back to your notes, check what we mean by those assumptions, and then you familiarize yourself. So as I said at the beginning, the examiner here was not clear on what exactly he meant by statistical analysis. So in that case, you are free to do a few. How many a few are, I am not able to know. You are the one to judge, or you do everything that can be done, like what I have done. If you have time, you do everything that you can be able to do. Okay. We are okay with that. Then we are told some factors that can prevent or that can hinder the interpretation of your results. So andika hivi, number one, non-disclosure of all the relevant information. Non-disclosure non-disclosure. Non-disclosure of all the relevant information. What we mean by that is we need to be told this amount that was spent, where exactly? Is it a situation where one family was taken to Hilton Hotel and another family was taken to a village hotel? And then we took the expenditure amount. We need to check. Is it a situation where we have a family of one person and the other one has 8 persons? Those figures need to be disclosed so that we can even judge relatively. Number 2 that could prevent is when you're interpreting this is use of initials. Use of initials whose meanings have not been provided. Use of initials whose meanings have not been provided. Use of initials or abbreviations whose meanings have not been provided. Ukiangalia kwa hii table kuna so many initials, kina ANOVA, kina DF, kina SS, MS, F. Sasa kama hujui what they represent, then wewe utakuwa tu unaona figures but you don't know what they mean. And closely related to that is lack of statistical knowledge. Lack of statistical knowledge. If you do not know what should be done, then you realize that you cannot interpret. So, are we okay with that? Okay, we are okay, so we can proceed. Let's go to question 3A. Outline 4 costs that should be reported in an environmental cost report. So question 3A. This one is from EMA, Environmental Management Accounting, and specifically is types of costs. So because we said during Najibanga, so I just highlight, you go and get some more information. So some costs that you need to highlight, one is what we call prevention costs. There are many ways of classifying these costs. Number 2 is detection costs. detection costs. Number 3 is internal failure costs. Internal failure costs. Number 4 is external failure costs. External failure costs. So those are enough. You will go do some more research. You get the meaning and examples, even other ways of classifying costs. I think the other day I gave you some other classifications, and I keep on saying all those are acceptable. All those, including the ones that I gave you in the handout, the 5 or 6 types that I gave you, you could also have listed them here. The next one is part B. Describe 2 methods that can be used by management accountant to scan risks in their operating environments. So the methods. So that is question 3B. This one we can categorize it as issues emerging. Emerging issues. The methods that you can use to scan risk. There are very many, or some methods are very popular, and these ones you know. The most popular is called SWOT. SWOT analysis. This one from your SGE, you must be very rich in terms of the knowledge about SWOT analysis, what each letter represents, and how you can go about identify. The other one that we normally use is called the BCG matrix. The BCG matrix, the Boston Consulting Group matrix, the one that has the 4 quadrants. Again, from your SGE, you have some knowledge or a lot of knowledge on that. If you don't, you can Google that. And if you're not able to get, you can let me know in the subsequent lessons. So part C, I still have 8 minutes. Or I think we pick up from there tomorrow instead of starting and leaving it incomplete. Is that okay? We pick up from there tomorrow, God willing. Yun says we can attempt. We leave it incomplete. Okay, then we can do the Monte Carlos. For the 8 minutes remaining, we do the Monte Carlos. Tomorrow we come and do the sheets. So the question is on that is question 3C, and this is simulation and inventory controls. Inventory controls. So we have Monte Carlo for demand. Monte Carlo for demand. And this one, you know, we are going to have units. Then we have probability. We have cumulative probability. And then we have the range. We have the range. We have the range. Oh, you want to do it on your own? Okay, now that I've begun, maybe I can let me do the Monte Carlos. Time ikiisha mtaenda kujimalizia on your own. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 0.02, 0.08, 0.11, 0.16, 0.19, 0.13, 0.10, 0.08, 0.07, 0.06. So this is 0.02, 0.1, 0.21, 0.37, 0.56, 0.69, 79, 87, 94, and 1. So this is 00 to 01, 02 mpaka 09, 10 to 20, 21 to 36, 37 to 55, 56 to 68, 69 to 78, 79 to 86, 87 to 93, 94 to 99. So that is the Monte Carlo for demand. So on your own, you can go and finish that question. And if you finish, then tomorrow we start with question 4. So we call it a day at that point. Thank you so much.